Howdy, and welcome to Donkamet Channel. Excuse my state of undress. It's very hot here right now, and I am not made for hot climates, so I like to get practically naked. And I gotta make videos, so we're gonna have to roll with it. Now, this is the topsail Chete that my wife brought for me. I think she got it in Arkansas. And I did some mods. I didn't like the kind of sub-hilt-like pokey choil thing on the handle there, so I mostly ground that off fairly crudely. I rounded off a little bit here on the spine, you know, little things like that. And I dropped this on my foot earlier because I picked it up like this, just naturally expecting the sheath to have retention, but the retention counted on what I ground off, and so it fell and landed on my foot. This otherwise hasn't proved that problematic, actually, in use, this exposed pommel. I don't really like them very much, especially when they leave the lanyard hole like that. However, I find the handle comfortable until I drop it on my foot. Now, also, I have, I've kind of reground, and I kept grinding. Every time I use it, I take it, I don't just sharpen it and hone it, I grind a little more as well. So we've got most of the finish off there. This tip is kind of a little higher than it was. And generally we're thickening up in this area. Now, to start out with, it was very thick behind the edge and kind of steep primary bevels there. So I kind of convex that out, and now we're kind of, as it were, thinner behind the edge, although there isn't really, behind the edge is up here now because it's all convexed out. But it's a different geometry that, let's say, it's sharper right at the apex, but becoming more and more robust behind. And earlier today, I demonstrated a couple of knives. I can show this one that I did a quick regrind on it after putting some serious rolling into this area here. But it came with the tip chipped off, and then that happened, and it was so thin, especially up in this area, that would have been great in the kitchen, but I still think it's a great knife, but it is a very lightweight. It's a good example of what this is not, right? In terms of, not far off overall length, but very different applications, clearly. This I'm going to have to see now that I've thickened it up, how well it handles, whether it's really just a large steak knife or whether I can do some work with it. And then this one, we tried, and it was too thick, It's just too thick for doing kind of slashing. Even chopping with something with this kind of geometry is not so good. You wouldn't chop with this knife anyway, but even an axe with this geometry would not chop well. It's too thick. Great knife for stabbing at the moment, but it really needs a regrind. I'm thinking about doing like a Mora, like hollow Scandi to 0. Yeah, imagine that, hollow Scandi, slightly hollow on a 10-inch wheel to 0. If I can nail that M390, chef's kiss, this thing will be amazing. This thing would be a knife that, yeah. Anyway, then I took this to that hemlock, and it's pretty thin. It's not a chunker at all. I have the Compadre throw knife, and I have axes for chunky geometry. This thing is it really is like a heavy machete, actually. And I did get on some of the knots, the hardest knots, when I slammed it at a bad angle because of lack of skill. I did get some minor edge damage that I was able to sharpen out. And now the knife, of course, is slightly more robust again because I steepened things up. So anyway, I just broke this axe handle, this Japanese axe handle, just busted it, just made a video, busted on camera. And I'm like, well, I know they use oak. I read that. I did some research about these Japanese axes. They use oak. I have oak. I found a piece of oak that looked good. It's this big old billet I've had kicking around outside. But then I also thought about lilac, and I wondered, would I not have a chunk of lilac somewhere? And I had one. The one big old chunk of lilac that I had, that this was long dead standing when I took it out of the ground. So seasoned in that regard. However, it has not been wet seasoned, so maybe whatever I make out of this will just bust itself apart. I also don't know, because it has knots, I don't know whether there is an axe handle's worth of clear wood in this. The whole thing is twisted, as you see. You can't split this straight like you can with ash or whatever. But that's the thing. I mean, that if there wasn't a wormhole or anything, everything looked fine where the break happened. It's just that that wood was not strong enough to support being in that pinch, you know, you have the axe head and then directly below it. So basically, the wood has to be harder than ash, I guess. You know, to me, that's the lesson, because you know, everything was fit flush, and unless I messed something else up that I don't know about with the wedges or something, maybe I created some stress or some problem. Anyway, the point being, I'm just going to chop at this piece of lilac with this top Chete, and we'll see how we go. Just thought I would film a little bit of me doing that. So there are these knots here, that thing there and that thing there, that are coming out here. So I'm just going to take that clear off, that section there. Okay, and let's bear in mind, this is 2,000 something foot-pounds Janka. You'd have to look it up, but it's very hard wood. Not like African blackwood or lignum vitae or whatever, but it's way harder than oak. And it just tends to crack. It just tends to crack itself into chopsticks. It's hard to get big chunks that don't have splits in them. And this, I don't know, so far it's not looking hopeful. We got that big crack here. I don't know. Well, let me just see if I can make a flat down here. Oh. I got an itchy back. This is definitely a good back scratcher knife. Okay. Clip point Bowie, not so much. That looks fine. Maybe a couple of little tiny chips in there. Well, there are a couple of tiny chips in there. Well, we are actually kind of getting through that crack. If I chase that down. Okay, that curve is good. I'll keep that. No. Does it go all the way? Are we getting through this now? I don't know. Anyway, I'll probably get a knife handle out of this, and it would be the same protocol, right? You can't. It's like a burl wood or whatever. You can't really see what you're dealing with until you start chopping into it. Oh, it smells so good. Just smells so good. Well, these cracks. Yeah, so maybe not, huh? I don't know. We gotta see what's on this side. I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's going to work. Hang tight. Huh. Huh. Hi. Did I leave a big piece of oak? Wonderful. This is a piece of oak. I can't even remember exactly how I came by this to start out with. I mean, I think it was a tree that I cut and I split it down. Had it as a fence post for a while. Now it's just been lying around on the ground. Also has a lot of superficial cracks on this side, but maybe they're not that deep. So I'll just check this out because this thing is pretty chunky. I was thinking maybe to, and it's completely not free. So I was thinking it might make a good bokken. But, you know, maybe even we could start down at this end and see what it's like. And, yeah, this is the grain orientation. Good. Okay. That's extremely punky. Actually, that wasn't so bad, you know. All this here, that's enough thickness. Yeah, could have maybe used this. But anyway, we worked our way up the billet. We'll have more to play around with. So I guess this whole side was lying on the ground and it rotted out. But the top side will have got really nicely seasoned. Now there's also this big crack part here, so I'll just take that all off. And now that actually almost suggests that this would be our head end and that would be our handle end. So let me just see. Interesting. Yeah, that's looking quite nice. Oh, yeah, it's pretty crappy at this end though. Oh no, I take it back. I think we've still got enough to work with right up at this end here. Yeah, this looks really good, I think. Now, I'd heard that oak is not good for axe handles because of vibration transmission. But it's not really, I mean, it's not going to be a big old chopping axe, right? And oak is definitely strong. Pretty sure it's stronger than whatever punky ash I used for that other handle, which is also the same ash that I used for my pole hawk handle and my brush axe handle. So we'll see how those hold up. I think they'll be fine. I just think that, you know, from the engineering perspective, it was just not a suitable material for that particular hatchet head. Well, I think, you know, that's been a pretty good demonstration of what I'm doing with the Chete and the billets. I might start sawing this into pieces now that I can get a notion of where there are some good chunks in there. Some of this will maybe be knife handles, some of it will maybe be pin stock, some of it maybe I'll send to Jimbus Maximus if I find a really good nice chunk in here. I have some other pieces for Jimbus as well, who requested some lilac. I'd be happy to furnish him with some lilac. We've got plenty. So yeah, I'll continue to chop on this for a while. Later I'll get a knife. Maybe I'll film some content whittling on this thing as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.